Good evening. It's 6 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and start the City Council meeting for October 28th. We are going to start with the invocation, which will be given by City Council Member Tyler Button today, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance with Councilman Raymond. Please stand.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this opportunity to be together as a community in a great town like Atwater, and also in a country as free as it is. It's just truly a blessing. And Lord, we just pray as we come into an election season, and with that comes many unanswered questions and concerns and anxiety, Lord. And we just pray, Lord, that as a community, we would remember that, you are constant, you are faithful, and you ask us not to worry about what's tomorrow, but be faithful and pray. So, Lord, we just pray that happens. And Lord, we just pray you protect our men and women in uniform. Pray that you would watch over our staff. Pray for this council and mayor and city manager, Lord. We pray these things in Jesus' name, amen.
All right, stand and face the flag.
Could we have the roll call, please?
Ambrose,
Here.
Button,
Here.
Kale,
Here.
Raymond,
Here.
Nelson.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, we did not have closed session tonight, so we don't have any report out for that. Do we have any subsequent need items?
Mayor, there are none.
Okay, could we get approval of the agenda as posted?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Raymond, second by Button. Kale,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
Button,
Yes.
Nelson.
Here. No, not here. I am here. Yes. Sorry, I was getting ahead of myself here.
Motion passes.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay. All right. Okay, we're going to start with presentations. The first item on our agenda tonight is the National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And I'm going to make a presentation to Sylvia Fuller. If she would please come forward, and I will come down and we'll need a microphone. Thank you very much. No, it's not going to be, would you like to walk?
No, I think I'll be okay.
It will not be long. Here. Stephanie's going to take you. Sylvia, I am thankful that you asked that this proclamation be given to your group, the Atwater Merced Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority. And as you're well aware, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, dedicated to raising awareness about domestic violence and promoting education and prevention to protect individuals and families. And while domestic violence affects individuals of all backgrounds, African American women experience domestic violence at a rate 6 times higher than the national average. Your sorority is committed to addressing the challenges faced by African American women who suffer from domestic violence. And domestic violence impacts individuals, families, and communities, and creates cycles of trauma that must be broken through collective effort. October 30th, 2024 is recognized as the Day of the Survivor for African American women, honoring their strength and calling for continued advocacy and support. The City Council City of Atwater proclaim October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the city, and we're designating October 30th, 2024, as the Day of the Survivor for African American women. And we encourage residents of our city to engage in dialogue, support local resources, and advocate for policies that protect survivors of domestic violence. And I have signed this, and we have the city seal. Thankfully, only one camera at a time, because I never know where to look. When the camera, there's a bunch of cameras, you never know where to look. Right.
Okay, right.
Okay, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much for the proclamation.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, Corey, for your assistance there. Okay, now we're on to our monthly report from County Supervisor Darren McDaniel.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I was told by Mr. Thompson to make this quick tonight. I guess you guys have a full agenda. I just want to give a H5N1 update here at Merced County. Department of Public Health and the Ag Commissioner continue to coordinate activities. There are now 100 dairies in Central California confirmed with the H5N1, 5 human cases in Tulare County, 1 in Kern, and now we do have 1 confirmation here in Merced County. Department of Public Health will be conducting flu vaccine point of distribution at CVOC actually today and tonight in Winton. Just want to make aware, I don't know if you guys saw the Sunstar, we did have a fake letter that came from the Department of Public Health. We became aware of the fake letter that was sent out to a local resident that appeared from Department of Public Health. It was including a mock letterhead, inaccurate points of contact. Staff will alert the public on the lookout for these letters via social media. So this letter was actually addressed to an individual saying that they had a venereal disease. So I think you saw it on, I think it actually made ABC 30 as well. But we got to it. It wasn't our letterhead. It was a mock letterhead. In fact, the contact numbers and points on there were not of Merced County. So we think it was I don't say it was a scam, but I think maybe somebody did a practical joke. Also, Castle Air Fest and car show, fantastic. We had 3,000 to 4,000 people. Thank the mayor for being there. I apologize to the mayor now. I did not have the VIP shuttle ready for him when he got there. But we are looking, we had 3,000 to 4,000 in attendance. We are working out the kinks. I don't know if you saw any. I think maybe that we didn't have enough shuttle buses. We thought this would be the first event. We weren't going to have that many folks. And we were overwhelmed with up because there were so many people there. They were very happy with the day, but wish they could have sold more. But the gentleman who sang it was the lead singer. An old car front of their drum set. Anyway, belted it out. I heard so many compliments on this. It was unbelievable. I went up to him right afterwards and thanked him for doing it, and he said it was the first time he'd ever done it, and it was amazing. He needed a couple aspirin because he sang so hard and so loud. It was an amazing time. Also coming up on November 16th, we have the Lantern Festival out at Castle. This is a new event for Merced County, but this is an event, and if you go to thelightfest.com, they're expecting 3,000 people. That's the minimum amount that they have at these lantern festivals. If you go to their website, it's the Fresno event, because they usually do it this is the Valley event, and it's always considered on their website the Fresno event. But we're looking forward to this. It's been, I guess you light off the lanterns and they float up. They only go so far. They're only like 35 seconds or something that they're lit. But it's pretty impressive. If you go to the website, you can see a whole lot more. For each adult ticket that you purchase, you get a lantern that you can decorate while you're there. A lot of people put prayer notes or some kind of messages on the lanterns before they let them go. Also, Merced County participated in the California Economic Summit, California Jobs First Investor Exchange. We had Assistant CEO Hendrickson and our Department of Workforce Investments, Eric Serrato, attending this event. It was in Sacramento on October 10th. North Valley Thrive, which is the 3-county group that we're in, that the governor has made an investment for our region for economic development going forward and jobs. But Merced County was actually highlighted. Had hundreds of economic developers and workforce leaders from throughout the state in attendance. And so the highlight was the Atwater area as well as Castle and the conjunction of how we're working together. Also, I want to talk about the Patriot Rail event that we have out at Castle on October 30th. Mayor, I think you've already received an invite, and City Manager. You guys were supposed to, so I'll make sure. In fact, I brought it up to Greg. Yeah, it's at 10 a.m. and it's the new Hydra, which is the company. So we'll be doing a multimodal new docks out there. And so this was the old treatment area where they inland port project. So this is a big day. They're already moving a lot of tomato paste out of there. They do it at night, so it doesn't so anyway, I'd like to invite you guys out to there. We're really looking forward to that. And with that, I think that's all I have, unless you guys have any questions. I have 2 pages more, but we can
Well, okay, I'll take up part of the question. The Airfest, it was good. I would say things to fix, clarification on how far it is from the shuttle to the actual event,
Yes,
because
it's over a mile.
I heard anywhere from a half a mile to a mile and a half.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, heck, I'm not walking that far. But once you got out there, you realized, oh, I could walk back.
Yeah.
I could have walked out here, right? Okay.
Well, we did have a shuttle service,
Well, yeah.
but now we need more of a shuttle. Yeah, we know
Yeah.
it's a,
And if you're going to allow pedestrians out there, you really need to have demarcated lines out there,
Right.
because it was kind of taking your life into your own hands with all the cars. So there's that.
Yeah.
And then I have a question about the Lantern Festival. How does that affect with the airport?
it doesn't. It's all approved through the FAA, and everything works. So usually these events are at public airports. Go to the website and they explain more.
Yeah, I looked
It's
at
a
it a
great-
while back, but
I'm looking forward to it. It looks like
so
a
FAA approved.
really nice
So that's what
festival. It's just an afternoon into the evening, and it's just a nice thing. People are complaining that there's nothing to do in Merced or Merced County, and yet we were so busy the weekend of the Airfest. We had the Tomato Festival, we had the Nut Festival, and we had the Airfest. It was exciting. It was funny watching the radio DJs running around from event to event so they could be at all of them.
Okay, that's all the questions I had.
Anything else?
No, thank
I have a list of questions, actually. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I just wanted to say thank you for the job you've done for our district. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you.
Anything else? Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right, now we have a legislative report from our Assemblywoman, Esmeralda Soria. Welcome.
Thank you. And good evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you for allowing me a few minutes to just share what we've been doing, not just in this last year, but in my first term in having the honor of representing you guys, one of the 14 cities that I represent in Assembly District 27. And so just very proud that in my 2 years that I've been in office, we've made many visits here to the city of Atwater and the surrounding areas, coming to not just, I would say, the best 4th of July parade in the valley, but we've, made a visit to the CHP office and the 911 center that is here. We've toured also at the castle, the TRC center. We've met with the folks that are doing the Waymo company there. Also toured Teasdale, learning about some of the challenges that they have as they deal with the state. Also have taken the time to spend time touring some of the groundwater basins with Mr. Mike Gallo, and learning about also some of the great things that the state has been able to offer some of our local farmers in terms of incentives and opportunities to recharge our groundwater aquifer. We've been very, very busy, but what I've learned in the 2 years is that the partnership in making sure that we're in strong communication is key, especially during the legislative session when there are pieces of legislation that cities like Atwater are saying like, hey, that's going to impact us. We want to make sure that our office is aware of that, so that when there's such pieces of legislation coming down, that your voice is heard and that we're able to represent you in the most effective way. And I think that we did a pretty good job in the last couple years. I will say that I'm proud that in my first term, we've been able to deliver over $500 million of a variety of different investments, many of them here in Merced County, starting with fire stations, parks, some flood recovery funding that went to the community out in Planada. We also brought $57 million to make sure that the Madera Community Hospital reopened, which has been an impact to the community of Merced because the ER here has been much more impacted. And we know that when we have limited facilities, it strains the system and then it impacts the quality of care that all of our families receive. So we're super excited that that hospital is going to reopen by the end of the year, latest early January. Which again will, allow folks here in Merced to breathe and hopefully cut back on the wait times that exist right now in the emergency room. The other thing that we worked hard in advocating was on the $77 million to fund the farmer program, especially for our ag folks here in the valley as they're looking to replace their tractor equipment. We know that it's very expensive. The state of California has provided this great incentive program of trade-in where they can apply for these dollars. Majority of the funding stays here in the valley for the San Joaquin Valley Air Resource Board. So we're super excited that we were able to secure that funding in these last 2 years. Housing is a big issue in our community, especially students. It's an issue that I heard through the last 2 years, and so we worked with Merced College and also UC Merced to secure $100 million to build over 500 units of affordable student housing for our local kids that are going to Merced College and aspire to go to UC Merced. So super excited about that project, not only the jobs that it's going to bring to the local community, but also the housing units that will be available for our local kids. Also, we are able to secure $20 million for UC Merced expansion. You guys all know that UC Merced is growing, and I think that there's an incredible opportunity to continue to invest so that we're fulfilling the dream of many folks that came before me of seeing that medical school get built out, where we're going to be able to really educate and train our local physicians that will stay here in our community, which we desperately need. And then also just want to share that my office has taken hundreds and I would say thousands of calls from local residents. So we're very proud that many of those calls resulted in putting money back in people's pockets when they're dealing with EDD, the Franchise Tax Board, even EDD and other state agencies. and we were able to bring back $250,000, $250,000 back from these various state agencies to people's pockets. And that's the kind of work that we've been doing. So not just on the policy front and the budget, bringing resources to our local communities, but also making sure that the everyday resident that lives here in Assembly District 27 has a connection to our office to make sure that if they're having trouble with any of these state agencies, that we get them real results. And so in my time also, we have gone to many community events. In this last summer, we did tons of backpack giveaways. Here in Merced County, we did many events, raising over $60,000 and giving away over 4,000 backpacks during the summer. You guys all know that many families struggle, and so we're trying to make it just a little bit easier for families to be able to afford necessities that they may have for their students or their kids as they were returning back to school. I also want to give a shout out to the mayor, Mike Nelson, for participating in our Government 101 session for our Young Legislators program, which was very, very awesome to see how engaged our young students were. I do want to just put a plug in for the program. We had a couple of, I think our program was about 18, 19 students, and there were a couple of Atwater students that were participants of this program. And so we want to encourage you guys to let the young people from Atwater know that we have the application open right now. It's our Young Legislators program, and so we will be starting in the springtime. And so we want to encourage our young people also to be part of this program. Usually they're juniors and seniors. We sponsor it. We raise the money to make sure that the program functions. And this will be our second cohort, and we expose them, one, to what government is. We expose them to ag, public safety, the issues of healthcare, and then we actually also get to take them to Sacramento so that they can see the work that is done, so that they connect the dots and understand the important works that happens. The other thing that we've been working on is, on the legislative front, we had several pieces of bills that our office authored, but also many that we co-authored and supported that would help us. That was signed into law was AB 2900, which technical assistance. We know that for heavy-duty agricultural vehicles, California has some very ambitious goals, and so in order to meet those goals, the state needs to step up and help support and provide those incentives. And so my bill got signed earlier this year, and that's going to make the Air Resources Board really pay attention, especially to those small local businesses that maybe just have 1, 2, or 3 trucks. They're not the massive big companies, to be able to help them continue so that their businesses sustains. We also were able to provide get the bill signed, which ended up helping us secure the funding to reopen Madera Community Hospital, which was the hospital distress loan program, which was very critical, not just for our region. It helped keep also Cahuilla Delta down in the South Valley open. They were one of the beneficiaries of this program as well. We also worked on AB 2661 for communities out on the west side of the district to be able to not just produce solar or have solar in fallowed land, but also build transmission. And this is going to help the district, Westlands Water District. Many ag folks that live there that have had to fallow land now have an opportunity to not just put additional solar in that area, but also build the transmission that is needed, and it will actually be built in half the time, because we know that PG&E in their transmission plants and then building, it takes a lot longer than the Westlands Water District being able to build it privately. And so that's going to provide a great opportunity to build the capacity as things are being electrified to be able to have more energy being produced in this community. The goal is that we will use this as a model to hopefully expand to other places. And one of the benefits that comes out of this particular piece of legislation is that there's a community benefit, that the surrounding communities that are part of this district will work in partnership with Westlands Water District to create a community benefit agreement where they'll spell out what some of the additional investments will go to the communities that are surrounding the district. And one of them includes energy relief. We know that PG&E bills are very high for many families during the summer, and then we know in the winter. And so we're hoping that this will result in making sure that there's a program created to help families lower their energy cost. So that was a big win for our valley, and I think it's also going to produce 10,000 jobs over the course of 10 years. So it's not just people from that area, but I think people from throughout the region will benefit from those jobs. I also just wanted to say, in terms of public safety, it was a big concern for many families and continues to be. We brought forward a proposal, AB 1960, in partnership with Merced County DA Nicole Silvera. There was some politics that happened along the way, but at the end, the bill was signed into law, and so it was part of the retail theft package that aimed to expand criminal penalties for retail theft and increase police and prosecutor tools to combat theft and help take down those who profit from the smash and grabs and property crimes that we've seen impact many of our communities. And so that was signed into law, so that will go into effect in January. And so we're very proud of that piece of legislation. The other thing that I was part of, and hopefully if it does in turn get supported by the voters, was SB 867, which includes an investment of $10 billion for water infrastructure, wildfire prevention, parks, smart agricultural development. And so this piece of legislation incorporates a number of buckets of funding that will make communities eligible, and City of Water being one. There will be buckets of funding that contain, for example, $100 million for urban greening, including investments that support expanded urban greening programs, creating of green recreational parks and green schoolyards in park port communities. It also adds an additional $200 million for creation, expansion, and renovation of safe neighborhood parks in park poor neighborhoods. That includes not just new parks, but also we know many of the cities struggle with the deferred maintenance, and so there's going to be funding for deferred maintenance as well for cities throughout California. There are set-asides, especially for areas like our region, which historically sometimes we get left out, and so there are some set-asides for areas that have the levels of poverty that we do. And just to put a plug in, I do also want to thank the city manager and the deputy city manager for taking the time to meet with our staff. We've heard kind of across the district about housing challenges, and with some of the state policies, many of them are very urban focused, and so we're trying to figure out, if there are those challenges being experienced by, various cities, that we work with you guys to make sure either we eliminate or we change so that our policies are more reflective of actually communities that are more rural, and so that's the goal. Obviously, I know that we also want to make sure that, if there are unnecessary things that are coming down, that we keep our eye on that, because I know that the type of impact that it can have in local communities. So our goal is to continue to extend the opportunity to work with you guys. If you guys have any legislative ideas, aside from housing, over the course of now and January, we're developing our legislative package. We're also going to be talking about what our budget priorities for the year. If the city of Atwater has any in particular projects that you guys are planning for and that are interested in getting support from my office, please reach out. And then lastly as well, when you guys apply for any state grants, federal grants, our office is always willing and ready to write letters of support. We've done that for many of the cities that we represent, also the counties, the 3 counties that we represent, and many of them have resulted in actually us receiving the grant dollars. So whatever we can do to ensure that the resources are coming here to our local communities, we want to be able to continue doing that. And so I will just open it up if there are any particular questions from anyone. But again, thank you for allowing me the time, and then also just very honored to represent the city of Atwater.
Thank you for that informative report. Is there any council members that have questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, thank you for all the information tonight. The only thing I really would want to ask, after saying thank you for everything that you're doing for the residents of Atwater as well as the residents of Merced County, is I would just like to see you or your staff out here a little bit more often at council meetings, just giving us updates.
Okay. Yeah. No, absolutely, we will. And then this is Alexandra Riso, who started with us as an intern, UC Merced grad, local, born and raised in Merced, and so she is our point person for the city of Atwater. So if you don't see me, you will see Ms. Riso.
Well, nice to meet you, and thank you.
Great. Awesome. Okay, great, thank you.
I will say, though, I did notice on the calendar that you're going to start having mobile office hours here. Yeah, next month.
That's another thing that we're trying to do, make sure that we're meeting residents where they're at. Some folks can't go all the way to the city of Merced. So we are grateful for the partnership, and our staff will be here to do any intake or meet with constituents directly here in the city of Atwater.
Great, thank you. Alrighty, so now we're on to the consent calendar.
Background information has been provided on all matters listed under the consent calendar, and these items are considered to be routine. All items under the consent calendar are normally approved by one motion. If a council member requests separate discussion on any item, that item will be removed from the consent calendar for separate action.
Is there any public comment regarding the consent calendar? Come forward.
Linda Dash, Atwater. It's not a comment, it's just a question. Is there a reason the treasurer's report is dated 31 August of 2024 and not later, like 30 September? Is there a reason why this almost 2 months when this is, I'm just curious. Maybe it's just something that's the way your books are set up. That's all.
Simple question.
Yeah, Anna, could you?
Yes, please.
Please?
So in the month of October, we are working on the September one, and the reason for August being a little bit delayed is the prior month of July was a little bit delayed, which is not uncommon when you have a change of a fiscal year. There's reconciliation items that took a little bit longer this year.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Okay, I'm now closing public comment. Are there any items on the consent calendar the council would like to remove for separate discussion and possible action? Seeing none, who would like to make the motion regarding the consent calendar?
I'll move to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Motion by Kale, second by Ambrose. Kale?
Yes.
Ambrose?
Yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
Button?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, we're moving on to item 12, which is under public hearings. Adopt a resolution amending the fiscal year 2024-2025 miscellaneous fee schedule. Going to open the public hearing. Justin, if you please present your report.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So previously, the Atwater Chamber of Commerce ran the Christmas parade for at least around 30 years until it disbanded. And in the past few years, Old Town's been running the Christmas parade. Well, Old Town is no longer interested in hosting the parade, so city staff will take over the parade this year. Staff is recommending a cost of $45 per entry plus $5 per horse. The $45 entry is $5 less than last year's cost to enter in the parade. And this actually allows the city to recoup the cost of the parade, which it never has done in the past. There'll be no major changes to the parade. We'll still have vendors set up at 5th and Broadway. We'll still have float judging. and staff helped out a lot last year, so we're pretty familiar with it, and it should be a seamless transition this year. Applications will be accepted starting tomorrow at the community center, and you can contact Jamie Brown at 209-357-6321. If someone also would like to make a motion, we could have the deputy city manager be Santa Claus. That could be put into record.
Watch it.
Grinch. Yeah. Other than that, if council has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Council have any questions? Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing nobody coming forward, closing the public hearing. Council member anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve staff's recommendation as presented.
Second.
Second.
Motion by Ambrose, second by Kale. Kale?
Yes.
Ambrose?
Yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
Button?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, we're on item 13. Waive the first reading by title only and introduce an ordinance approving zoning ordinance text amendment number 24-23-0100, which amends chapter 17.16, low-density residential districts of the Atwater Municipal Code to add R-1-5, which is 5,000 square foot lots, as a single-family residential district under the low-density residential zone. Development Director Thompson, I'm going to open the public hearing, and Greg, if you could please give your report and recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council for your consideration of this item this evening. Just as the mayor stated, what we're trying to do is do a zoning ordinance text amendment. First, I'd like to thank our city manager and our city attorney for their assistance on this. We're working diligently behind the scenes to try to clean up our municipal code in multiple areas, this being one of them. Your general plan has basically allowed for a 5,000 square foot lot in the low density residential zones or districts. And it just never has occurred that the city council has amended this portion of the zoning to provide for that. It's not that you don't have 5,000 square foot lots now, because you do. It's just that we have used a planned development zone or district to facilitate that, other than a medium density zone. What's highly digestible by the builders right now is a 5,000 square foot lot. It helps facilitate building and housing numbers that our city desperately needs. And it doesn't require architecture and or a site plan or the development of a master plan to facilitate a standard single family residential subdivision. It's highly required for us to be able to produce these things. A lot of times when annexations occur into the city, or you have family ownership or private ownership of these land projects like this, they don't know who the builder is going to be. They don't know if it's going to be the D.R. Hortons of the world or the Century Homes or whoever else may be a merchant builder of sorts. So they can't entitle the land projects up to the degree or to the point that would facilitate a sale to these buyers, because they don't know what architecture they're going to be dealing with yet. This is a much, much needed change to our development standards and to our municipal code to provide for this highly digestible or marketable piece or lot configuration within the city. In my opinion, because that density range always existed, this is probably a much needed house cleaning provision of our municipal code, probably about 25 years overdue. So I greatly appreciate your consideration of this. If I have a tendency to tell you what it means, not necessarily just what it says in my staff reports, and I wanted you to understand the value to the city that this ordinance would create. But if you have anything that's specific or any questions that you have regarding this, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you. Does the council have any questions for Greg? Seeing none, is there any public comment on this item? Seeing nobody come forward, I'm going to close the public hearing. Who would like to make the motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Raymond, second by Button. Kale?
Yes.
Ambrose?
Yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
Button?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item 14, public hearing, waiving the first reading by title only and introduce an ordinance approving zoning ordinance text amendment number 24-28-0100, amending chapter 17.28 accessory dwelling units of the Atwater Municipal Code to comply with recent changes in state law and finding the action to be statutorily exempt from CEQA under section 21080.17 of the Public Resources Code. I'm going to open the public hearing. Greg, please present your report.
As the title suggests and implies, this is more of a compliance piece on the part of the council to adopt this zoning ordinance. And let me just say there's a couple of provisions and some new legislation adopted by the state that creates the necessity for this, for all intents and purposes, is a cleanup of the municipal code. One of them provides for the permitting of existing structures and how that would be treated. However, it really doesn't represent a change in the way that we do business, because our processes and applications already provide for as-built permits within the city. So in a sense, we're already complying with a portion of the bill, but we are required to adjust and amend our municipal code to follow suit. So that is the intent of this zoning ordinance text amendment, is for state compliance, and just the other piece that I gave you was just for informational purposes. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Does council have any questions?
Greg, with this, or Deputy City Manager Thompson, with this and the ordinance we just passed, it'll help, could help facilitate meet and RENA numbers, correct?
Yeah, and we're in process of updating our general plan right now, and in addition to that, we're making ready the compliance piece for existing housing element. But what we're trying to do with both this piece and the item before is to remove obstructions and log jams in our system that would lend us not to be able to facilitate housing. It is, yes, in part about the RENA numbers, but it's much more about providing housing that our community desperately needs.
No other questions? Okay. Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing nobody come forward, I'm going to close the public hearing. Anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Kale, second by Raymond. Kale?
Yes.
Ambrose?
Yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
Button?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Now we're on to reports and presentations from staff. Item 15 is approval and adoption of an amendment to the City of Atwater Improvement Standards and Specifications. Greg, I guess you can present your report and any recommendations.
Are you opening the public? Oh, there's no public hearing on this one. Okay.
I got that one right.
Oh, wow, good job. I really do feel like Santa tonight. So what we're asking for consideration, and thank you for putting this up on the screen, it kind of works part and parcel with item 13 above, in that allowing a 5,000 square foot lot within a low density residential zone or district works very well with the 56-foot road cross section. It's a design piece. It's an element that we can incorporate into standard subdivision design without the need and necessity to create specialized design and development standards with a planned development. Again, I just want to make sure and point out to the council, you already have situations like this that exist within the city. We've already shown that subdivisions like this are functional, okay? One of the things I might add about this is it does provide for variation of the design, both with a roll curb and a vertical curb surface. So one is conveyance and one is convenience. which I think are both great design features that we would be able to use in standard subdivision design. But one extra added element of a 56-foot road cross section, and Chief, please feel free to chime in if you like, is in that design feature with a more of a compressed street cross section, you have lower speed generation. So you don't have things like the need to be an overabundance of chokers or bulb outs or speed humps or anything like that. Is by design, a 56-foot road cross section generates slower speeds.
No, I agree with the Deputy City Manager on this. These are seen in multiple jurisdictions. As the road narrows, of course, you have the parking piece, which then compresses the length of travel in both directions. And that in and of itself will lower speeds, especially in residential zones. And with Atwater having a variety of road cross sections, depending on what street you're on, between the very, very wide 3rd Street, where we get a lot of complaints, and then the much narrower areas around Fay, Mitchell, and then over in the Pyro area, where we don't get those same speed complaints that we have on our more wider cross section.
So in addition to the road cross sections that you'll see as part of your packet and part of the consideration of this item is a redesigned cul-de-sac bulb and some other cleanup that would create a ripple effect from these two cross sections. That's why the additional information is in your packet. And again, if you have any additional questions about this, I'm happy to answer them.
All right, any council questions? Seeing none. Are there any public comments on this item? Seeing no one come forward. Would any council member like to make a motion regarding this item?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Button, second by Raymond. Kale?
Yes.
Ambrose?
Yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
Button?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. Now we're on to comments from the public.
At this time, any person may comment on any item which is not on the agenda. You may state your name and address for the record. However, it is not required. Action will not be taken on an item that is not on the agenda. If it requires action, it will be referred to staff and or placed on a future agenda. Please limit comments to a maximum of 3 minutes.
Okay, my usual statement here. Under the Brown Act, members of the public must address the city council as a legislative body of the city, not other members of the public or staff. I'm now opening public comment. Do we have any speaker cards?
Mayor, we do not have any speaker cards.
If there's any members of the public who'd like to speak, please come to the podium now.
Mr. Mayor, before you take that, I would like to introduce a guest that we have in the audience tonight. I'd like to introduce the new chief of the city of Livingston, Chief Frederick Schiff. Chief, if you'd like to please come up to the podium and say hi.
Thank you very much, Chief Salvador. Chief Salvador invited me to come down and meet you this evening, and it seemed like an excellent opportunity to do that. I appreciate the opportunity to speak before you, introduce myself. We're obviously your neighbors, and it looks to me like I've only been there for 3 weeks, but like we have a lot in common and a lot of things that we can work on together to make this part of the county better for all the residents, both yours and ours. I look forward to working with you, with your police department. We've already discussed some training that's available. I come from the city and county of San Francisco, so I have a number of resources, people that owe me favors that I now intend to collect from. I'm looking forward to sharing those resources, not just with you, hopefully with Gustine, Los Banos, the other small towns in the area. If you ever need anything, if there's anything I can do to assist you all, please don't hesitate to call me.
All right, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you for your time.
Michael.
Good evening, council. My name is Michael Gomez, Atwater resident. I'm a part of the Merced County Young Professionals Network, and I just wanted to announce, I'm happy to announce the Atwater Christmas Festival that's being put together and is coming up on December 1st from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. on 1834 Bellevue Road here in Atwater. So it's where the old 99-cent store was. We're really excited to put this together and partnering with WIP Financial and Schmoothco Barbershop. We're going to have music, free toys, so we have a toy drive going on, food, games, pictures with Santa, raffle prizes, and Schmoothco barbers are going to be offering free haircuts, so that's pretty exciting. And again, December 1st from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Thank you.
Thanks for the info. Anybody else?
Linda Dash, Atwater. Seems like everybody's really busy on their iPads and cell phones tonight, right? I was looking at some of the checks that were written, one in particular to Chase, and I noticed that there was a lot of checks made out to Harrah's Club and the Hilton, about $11,000, other things, Expressions of Love Florist and so forth. And I just kind of wondered, and I know our mayor didn't like to see these things, but it wasn't really too transparent. We spoke about that earlier. If there's a possibility that, not tonight, but we kind of find out, did they have a CNOA meeting or something like that in Reno or Tahoe or whatever? I just don't like to see our money spent, our taxpayer money spent in casinos. We want to spend it, we'll do it ourselves. The thing that really bothered me is we've got officers that protect us, they try to, that are working with equipment that's outdated, bulletproof vests. I heard they were actually measured for them back in March. They're wearing vests that probably they have sweated out. It's their lifetime. Maybe they've outgrown them or they're too big for them. It's not really safe. And I kind of think that it's, I pray that this council will start looking at some of this money that's spent. That was $14,000, $24,000, $30,000. You got over $2 million in Measure B. That's what Measure B is for. It's to build up our police and fire and any kind of equipment that they need that helps them do their job safely and keeps them safe. Now, this is ridiculous when we, don't put them at the front of the line, make them more important than electric cars and remodeling this stupid city. I think the safety of the officers should be important to every taxpayer in this town. And if there's something, if you disagree, I mean, that's fine, but I don't like to see this city sending our officers on the streets with faulty equipment and unsafe vests. Thank you.
All righty. Anybody else?
Good evening, council and staff. Adam Reed, 1520 Fruitland Avenue. Hey, I would like to take an opportunity since I see Ms. Soria here and thank her and her office for some help that she assisted me with in a matter with the DMV. And then also, I believe she's helping us at the Winton Cemetery with the PG&E problem. Okay, so tonight I'm here. I would like to just let the council know about a issue that I've had that's been going on for quite a few years at my building that I own in downtown Broadway, homelessness. And I'm not talking about just the homeless being around or sleeping there or using it as a restroom or going through all the trash, but actual monetary damage that is totaled in the last 6 years of $19,000 to me. And I've got receipts to prove all of that. Right now I'm dealing with an issue. I've got to replace my sewer lateral because 2 weeks ago, somebody, a homeless person, is what the accounts were from my tenant and stuff, is that they burnt a trash can, one of the plastic totes, and it happened to be sitting right on top of the sewer clean out, and it melted the sewer clean out, and all that plastic went down into the sewer lateral. And it's VCP, it's clay. So whenever they came to get all that plastic out of there, the plastic is harder than clay. especially very old clay, and it damaged the pipe. So I'm going to be submitting for an encroachment permit tomorrow and getting the contractor on that. But it's a very expensive thing. Like I said, I've had air conditioning units totally destroyed. My back door has been bashed in so bad that it broke not just the door and the frame, but it broke the block of the building. I've had, now the sewer lateral, multiple things, broken windows, all kinds of stuff. So I don't know what the answer is. I'm a resident and I pay taxes. And I pay sales tax, property taxes, all kinds of income tax and stuff. And I'm hoping you guys got an answer, because right now it doesn't seem like anything is being done about the homeless, or at least here in Atwater. Other cities are. Other cities, Merced, up in Stanislaus County, the Bay Area, LA, they're doing stuff. The Supreme Court, I think they had a ruling, and Gavin Newsom gave some power to local jurisdictions to do something. But right now, as far as I can see, Atwater's not doing anything, and it's costing me money. So I'd appreciate if you guys could look into that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
So here about 3-4 weeks ago, we had this alleged economic development summit or forum or whatever you want to call it, and I came away from there extremely disappointed. I was expecting a whole lot more than what was presented there. What I heard was, gee whiz, out at Merced College we've got truck driving school, and we can do this and that and all these marvelous things. I didn't even hear the city of Atwater, the name of Atwater, mentioned one time in the 2 hours I was there. Not once. I never heard anything about our workforce. I never heard anything about land development out at Ferrari Ranch. I never heard anything about wages, the types of things that could be brought to Atwater. Nothing. If there is another one of these seminars or forums brought up again, I hope you reconsider that. Also, to bring in something to do with Castle. A subject, as you all know, near and dear to me is the aviation industry. And it ain't happening out there at Castle. But all cities that are thriving all have one thing in common, that's a thriving airport. And they need to be incorporated into the city as well. Secondly, I want to also reiterate what Linda Dash just spoke about when it comes to the equipment for the police officers. This grant funding on item number 9, which I failed to get up here and tell you about, but I'll tell you about it now. When you go to look at the grant funding to go and provide safety equipment for the police officers, that's a shame. I came to the Oversight Committee for Measure B to go and supply the funding and approve funding and what have you for the police officers and firefighters here. If it's flooring, if it's painting the doors on the firehouse, if it's weight equipment in the fire station, the money flows. Why doesn't it flow for the protective gear of our police officers? Do you gentlemen ever read the ordinance for Measure B and see what that money is supposed to be for? It's not for weight equipment, flooring, and painting doors on firehouse. None of the residents voted for that, and none of it makes anyone feel any safer. It's time to wake up and look at this from the standpoint of what the voters expect. And the voters expect better than this. I hope you reconsider what you're doing right now as far as the expenditures out of Measure B. Measure B has $2+ million on balance all the time. Why do we wait for a grant funding to buy what they should already have by way of the public safety money that was voted in?
Anybody else?
Mr. Mayor, Council, I can't really blame you guys too much because you probably didn't know what was going on these bulletproof vests, how long they've been expired. Your police chief, Michael Salvador, knew about this, and this has been going on for some time. These things should have been paid for by Measure B a long time ago. I've listened to your police chief, Michael Salvador, talk about how we're all family at the police department. Well, if that's what he does to his family members, send them out on the street with expired bulletproof vests, that's pretty sad. 2 days ago, a Fresno sergeant was ambushed in his car. He was shot 3 times. 3 times. Lucky he had a bulletproof vest on. When he got to the hospital, he was listed in stable condition. You guys as a council need to watch what he's doing, and thank God he'll be gone here in December. So we get somebody who's gonna start paying attention to these officers and doing what's safe for these officers. You guys all depend on them. You guys need to start taking notice what's going on. Second of all, in the 2023-24 budget, there was 28 police officers budgeted for. In the 24-25 budget, there's now 26 police officers. So when Measure B, we lost 2 officers. And we got $2 million plus sitting in Measure B. So I ask you guys what you guys are doing. In July 25th of 22, you, Councilman Raymond, asked City Attorney in the ordinance, what would the money be spent for specifically? And he answered you by saying that it be used for personnel and equipment. You replied back to him, that means more bodies, and he said yes. But we lose 2 bodies. So I challenge you to go watch the council meeting of that date and see how we lied to you and see what you think of that. Thank you.
Anybody else? We're saving the best,
All right.
best for last, or
Oh,
what's?
yeah. I don't know. I brought the Bible, so
Okay.
may not
All
be
right.
good. Actually, it's a great message. The Bible is, but it does have some parts that are very convicting, right? So, Rich Miller, 334 Silva Drive here in Atwater, also pastor Victory Baptist Church, 1280 Sierra Vista Street. Just coming to invite everyone out, city council, staff, our representative, and all of our representatives to come and celebrate with us this Sunday, November 3rd at 11 a.m. Our church will be celebrating our 36th anniversary here in Atwater. Church was founded in 1988, and I have been pastoring there 15 years as of November 1st. I still remember when my wife and I left Ukraine doing mission work over there to come here. Never had a desire to come to California in my life, being from the Midwest, being from Iowa. And the Lord laid upon our hearts the need to come and take a church where the pastor was retiring due to health. And I'm so glad we followed the leading of the Lord, because over the last 15 years, this has become home to us. And some people might wonder why the name. I mean, I sat in a meeting with religious leaders here this last week, and we were talking about our churches and what our mission statement is. And I told them the mission statement of Victory Baptist is to exalt God, to evangelize the lost, those who may not believe in God, and to edify believers. And the name Victory really is taken from a passage written by the Apostle Paul, 1 Corinthians 15, where it says in verse number 54, death is swallowed up in victory. O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? The sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is the law. But thanks be to God, which giveth us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. I have a good pastor friend who pastors in Hanford. He pastors New Testament Baptist Church there. His name is Tom King, and he's been pastoring there for quite a bit of time. He's a senior to me, probably by about 10 years at least. And his wife has battled with cancer at least twice, and the cancer's gone into remission. He was told, him and his wife were told Friday night by the doctors that they couldn't do anything more. The cancer in her left lung was growing, the tumor was growing, and it wasn't responding to the treatment. So he took her home, called in hospice, and Saturday morning, within 13 hours of going home, she went home to heaven. And the Facebook post that he sent out was so encouraging, because it reminded me why the name Victory, why we do what we do at Victory Baptist. Because this life is temporal, but there is an eternity after this. And we may not always get the victories in this life, but we can have victory in the Lord Jesus Christ for the next life. We want to encourage you to come out and join us as we celebrate that this Sunday.
Thank you, Pastor. Anybody else? Cindy, come on up.
I just wanted to give thanks to the chief and to all law enforcement, because I don't think people realize that the hard work and the long hours and the endless nights that the chief or other law enforcement goes through, and they don't give them enough credit. So we need to give credit where credit's due, and chief, you're awesome. So, you know, sometimes people don't understand your hard work. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Seeing nobody else, I'm going to close public comment. And we're going to go on to city council updates, reports, whatever. Start over here with Mr. Kale.
Mr. Reed, did he leave? Oh, he did. I wanted to thank him for bringing up the homeless. It's on my list, too. Like he said, there's a number of cities that are doing a whole lot, and we don't seem to be doing enough. And I know we have, we're making plans, we're doing all this, and still we have things happening constantly. And he's right, one of the worst places is downtown. After 11 o'clock at night, down Broadway, you get to hear all kinds of things happening down there, and it is very sad, and we need to take care of that. And we also need to take care of the camping that used to be, and we need to let Linda Dash do her job and get these people places to stay and get them out and quit causing all kinds of problems. I understand. I understand completely. I also want to say, right now, in this political climate that we have in our country, it has to drag you down. You cannot watch TV without politicians and people saying things that are half-truths. And he said this, and he really didn't say that. And she said this, and she really didn't say that. It makes you question why we get up here and do this stuff. And I had a guy argue with me and said, I pay your salary. And I reached in my pocket and I gave him a quarter and said, you got a quarter more than I get in a salary. And I'm proud of the fact that I set up here as a volunteer. That I don't do anything up here but think about what is going to be good for the city of Atwater. And I spend a lot of hours. I spent a lot of hours this weekend reading our packet, for instance. That was how many pages? 400? 422 pages, and reading that. And I'm okay that I don't get a salary, because I love this place. And I say that to tell you that, please, everybody listening on TV and here tonight, get out and vote. Vote for your heart. Vote how you think it's right. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, Danny?
Last week, I got to attend the annual conference for the League of Cities. Learned a lot out there. I'm going to be reaching out to our mayor and the city manager within the next week about some cybersecurity questions I have, as well as potentially implementing some transparency portals on our website if we can get that going. So a lot of good information out there that hopefully we can use. Halloween's coming up. I just ask all the residents to be mindful when they're out and about, especially around the 7 o'clock hour. We're gonna have a lot of families out there on the streets. As wonderful as our street lights are, sometimes we're not gonna be able to see some of our little ones, especially in those dark costumes that they have, so please be mindful when you're driving. Speaking of Halloween and events, yesterday my family just happened to be filling up one of our vehicles at the gas station over on Schaefer and Broadway, and they were having a trunk or treat event there, and a lot of people were there, and I think it would be a wonderful idea if we don't already have one implemented, but a community calendar. Well, community calendar for events like this, because apparently there was other ones going on. I'm aware that PD is going to have one this week as well. So thank you guys for hosting that, but we should really look into. Okay, and we have different churches are having them as well. So if we can probably look into getting a community event calendar for events just like this, I think that would also be beneficial for a lot of our residents. So other than that, you guys enjoy the holiday. Go out and vote, and see you next time.
Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, with the election, everybody, please go out and vote. Vote early if you still can. And I think my 2 cents would just be to, no matter who gets in, if it's not the side you like, or it is or it isn't, but to still pray for that person, and if you don't pray, but hope the best for that person if they do get in, and have good intentions for that person, and hope for the best for that person. I did want to say with the homeless, it's a problem, and my time here is very limited, and I think it's going to be a problem if you're in California. There's always going to be issues. Even with that Supreme Court ruling, we're still handcuffed in some areas, but I completely understand the frustration. I'd like to just give my condolences to Kathy DeLeon. She suddenly lost her husband, Johnny Garcia. She's works at my school that I'm at. Lovely person. Her husband I didn't know, but from what I understand, he was an amazing person. And so I just wanted to give my thoughts and prayers to Kathy. And then lastly, not a very important thing, but I don't think I've ever asked or brought this up as a council member, but the stop sign on Channel and Schaefer is bent.
Use text.
Not the biggest
text
thing.
MyGov. Take a picture
I know,
of
but
it and send it in.
I thought I would get right to the source right here. Get the city manager to put it down right there. But really, it is bent. That's all I got. Thank you.
Brian?
Just echoing what the others have said, is we live in the greatest, freest nation in the world, and Tuesday you have the right to go out and make your voice heard, do your homework, read the propositions, look at the candidates, and make an informed decision, because the next generation depends on it. Thank you.
Okay, I'll let the city manager talk about the homeless, I'll call it homeless task force that we're working on. I know he's been working on this for a bit, but I think it's about time we actually pull a trigger on it, so to speak. Probably the wrong thing to say there. Yeah. Also, though, this afternoon I was in Livingston. I did see Chief Schiff there. So when you walked in here, I was like, I just saw that guy. Well, anyway, Congressman Doherty introduced H.R. 10034 into the House of Representatives last week. It's having to do with border security and all that stuff to secure the border and reform the immigration laws. And one of the things, it was mayors, he invited mayors throughout the congressional district, which goes all the way from Coalinga all the way up to here, Lathrop. I didn't see anybody from Lathrop there, but anyway. So what I liked about it was the goal is to keep criminals out of our country, and also those that are here currently that, but for their immigration status, would make fine, upstanding citizens if they were allowed to apply. It makes no sense that people who are here working, doing a good job, have to jump through so many hoops in order to become citizens, become legal. It doesn't make any sense. So hopefully he will get some traction with that. It's a good bipartisan support on that. And with that, I will turn it over to Okay, Chris, your turn.
Thank you, Mayor. One announcement, we have the trunk or treat here in the parking lot in front of this building at 750 Bellevue. It will happen on Halloween from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Also, a couple things to note about the efforts that staff has had. With the homeless, is that we installed, our Public Works Department has installed no camping signs per our municipal code in city parks. And so we'll be enforcing that. And tonight, the council approved the bid for the on-call services for cleanup. This will help us with the hazmat issues that we may face when we're doing cleanups of homeless encampments, as we often run into that problem. But what I have seen is that just about every week I get a report from the Public Works Department that they are finding various encampments and picking them up and cleaning them up. So shout out to Public Works. Thank you for your efforts on that. And I'd like to direct the police chief to talk with Adam Reed when he's not here anymore, but if you could talk with him about that issue that he brought up.
That's why I just stepped out. We've got a homeless call we're rolling right now.
Okay. Thank you, Chief.
Okay. Well, with that, it is 7:18, not as short as last meeting, but not too bad. With that, I'm going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you all for being here.